Hey guys, I'm Davey Wavey, creator of the gay erotic website Himeros.tv, and today I am joined by sex and intimacy coach Finn Deerhart and my best friend Matthew Thomas. And today we are talking about gay sex, and in particular, desire on demand. So let's get started. Sounds like a new streaming service, like HBO Blow and Go and Desire on Demand.
I actually like Desire on Demand. There's something about it that's just very classy and catchy.
Finn thought of that.
I like it. Desire on Demand. Maybe we should do more with that.
Himeros Live is sponsored by Himeros.tv. Created by Davey Wavey, Himeros.tv is a website that inspires the best gay sex of your life through explicit, super hot videos. Himeros.tv videos are designed by a team of gay sex experts to result in increased pleasure, deeper connections, and a whole lot more fun. Join the revolution at himeros.tv/pod and save 20%. Himeros.tv, it's like porn, but better. Isn't there like a thing like I can't believe it's not butter?
Yeah. It's the margarine. It's the commercial for margarine.
Which is so much worse than butter.
Well, Himeros.tv is not that. It's the opposite of that. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. What did you guys do?
Finn, what'd you do? You've done a little bit of everything.
I have been, well, my boyfriend is out of town, and so I'm, taking care of my workload of everything. And then
I bet you're taking care of that load.
I took care of one. I tried to save some of that up, but I've had so much going on, and it's like things that usually having a boyfriend around, it just naturally things get split up more, like this task and that task. I haven't had that luxury. So I've had to do a lot of extra stuff, and I've been like shuffling pets and doing just all kinds of stuff. So
what did you do that made you, before we went on air, you were talking about like silicone injections in penises and balls. What brought you to that place?
Well, at the gym, I saw a guy that had injected, and it was like, I think his ball sack was like as big as like a grapefruit.
Wow.
What?
Matt, have you I love how innocent. I love how innocent Matt is.
I know. It's like, what?
When you told me, I was like, oh yeah, I've jerked off to that before. It's not, is it silicone or saline? And maybe it's both. You can do either.
Saline, saline.
Oh.
Silicone would be perfect, permanent. Not perfect.
And like lethal, I think, silicone in the blood.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Matt, you should Google
like fake boobs were like busting and like giving city issues.
Matt, Google like saline injected penises and balls.
Do it right now.
Do you know I will, but do you know what's funny? Because I don't think I've said this. I think that like on a man's anatomy, balls just do nothing for me.
That's such a waste. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I am not like really into anyone playing with mine, where I'm just like, yeah, they're there. Let's just move them out the way. Let's just move them over there. But unless somebody asks for it, I'm just like moving on.
Can I tell you one of the hottest feelings in the world is being fucked and having this like
balls hit your ass?
Nut sack just like hitting your ass, just giving you a high five every time you take that cock.
I love having my nuts licked while I'm jacking off. That's like one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, that is nice.
So I wouldn't. Yeah. What do you want to direct their attention to, Matt?
What do I want direct there?
No, he just wants to eat their ass. That's what he wants to do.
And what's so wrong with that?
If someone grabs your nuts, what do you do?
No, I know. I'm more than that. Like I'm into like totally like worshiping their body, like being into like just touching them, kissing them all over. There's just something about the balls that for me, I'm like, I don't know. Let's just pass that. That's the only thing that for me, I'm like, if I have a choice, I'd rather just stay away. Big, small, doesn't matter to me. They don't do it for me. I've looked up silicone balls, and I feel like I have like some like privacy thing, or some like some child like protection thing on my phone because nothing's coming up. That is
No, it's saline
say. Oh,
injectable.
duh. Sorry.
Okay, so have you ever seen those trucks that have the on their bumper on the back on their like the hitch where they would hook a trailer? There's like a pair of nuts like swinging.
Yeah.
Like
I've
oddly,
totally
that like
seen
I
that.
saw someone the other day in a truck and that turned me on. I was like, oh,
People do not do this.
How have you never seen that?
I've watched a lot of porn in my life, more than I choose to admit to. That is not people for what?
it's the thing.
For what? That looks like it hurts. Like
I think it's so hot because it's grotesquely, monstrously big.
I feel
It's
like
like,
pluck it, it's gonna burst. Like why?
did you ever have those toys when you were little that you try to hold on to and they like slide through themselves?
Yeah, but that's
yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
no. Okay, so I'm gonna show you if I can show you what.
Matt, no, it's on YouTube. You can't show us.
Just kidding.
You can text us though. You can screenshot it and text us.
This is.
Hey, I have some big news. This weekend, my boyfriend is going to meet my parents. We're going up to New Hampshire, and he's really nervous because he loves me, and I'm really close to my family.
That's awesome.
That's my announcement. Oh, Matt just sent those balls.
Are you excited?
I am really excited. Yeah. Matt, has your mom met Joelle yet?
Who?
Matt. Oh my God.
Ew, Matt, why did you send us this? Ew,
That's the first one that came up.
What the fuck? It looks like child porn or something.
No, please do not say that because that is not. But
ew, that's not what I'm talking about.
Said, what the hell? Well, then show me what it is because that's the first thing that came up.
Oh God, it's a picture. It looks like a water balloon.
That's why I'm saying it looks like it hurts.
All right.
Oh my God, you guys.
So Matt
that is the size of a grapefruit, is it not?
I think
that's like the size of a cantaloupe.
No,
I think this.
What do you think?
There's probably a lot of. I think there's a lot of things up here. It's like come visit San Francisco, Matt. And there's like
it looks like a giant pimple. That is what that looks like.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, Matt, has your mom met your boyfriend yet?
Yeah, she met him 4 weeks ago for the first time. 3 weeks ago for the first time. Yeah.
How did it go? We haven't talked about this.
We haven't?
No.
Well, my mother, she likes him. She likes him a lot.
She's a fan of the podcast, so be careful what you say.
I know, right?
Really?
No, are you kidding me? Well, I'm sure that my mom knows I do a podcast, and I tell her a little bit about what it's about, but she hasn't asked for any more information, probably because she knows me a little too well, and she knows that she doesn't want to hear this. Yeah. But my mom really, really likes him. When we were sitting at the table having dinner, she's like, you must be really special. And he's like, why? She's like, well, Matthew's 35, and this is the first person he's ever let me meet before. So this is like a really big deal. And I was just like, okay, we don't really need to be this heavy. Like, it's okay. Can we just like move on right now?
I mean, she does make a good point, though.
She does.
Like, Mom, stop telling the truth.
But can you make that point between you and I and not in front of him?
Right. I wonder what she was wanting out of that moment.
Yeah. So it was a nice moment. He just looked at me and smiled, and I smiled, and I gave him a quick kiss, and then we just kind of moved on.
You kissed him in front of your mom?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I guess for everybody who is listening, my mother is an ordained minister who, I guess when I in college really was not accepting of me being gay when I came out. So it's been a very, very long road to get to this point. But my mom is extremely accepting. It's taking her time just to, get a better understanding of things. We grew up in our time period of growing up is very different from our parents in the way that they see what it is to be gay. I've given her just as much time as it took me to actually come out. So I get it. And we're in a fantastic place. And she really likes my boyfriend, and she knows that I'm in love and I'm happy. And she says, bring him around whenever I want. She wants, what's funny is we're planning to go to DC over the summer. And she texts me, can you see if Joelle can make these dates for the different museums I want to go to? I'm like, well, what if I can't make those dates? She's like, can you just ask Joelle? I'm like, oh, okay, never mind.
Finn, has your, I mean, you don't have a necessarily like a super close, obviously, relationship with your dad or anything,
Right.
but have they had any interaction with Sam?
Well, no, my dad hasn't met him ever. And he's not even allowed to go to my dad's house. I haven't seen my dad in several years, but my mom, they're not together anymore. My mom loves him. And she actually told me, well, she's been on her own journey too. You know, like when I first came out of the closet, she was really on board with accepting me. She has struggled through a lot because she didn't want to lose my wife. We had been together for a long time. She was really close with her. So there's a lot for her to work through. And she hated some of my boyfriends, but she loves Sam so much. She told me that if anything ever happens between me and him, if we're not together anymore, she's going to go ahead and keep him anyway. So that feels really awesome to me.
Yeah. She's picking sides.
Yeah, she loves him. So
yeah,
I feel like we need to devote a podcast just to hear about what you've been through, like your whole life story, because it actually is very courageous. And the little that I do know, I'm just like, wait, when did all of this happen? Like, because it's a lot.
Oh, the wife? Yeah. It is a lot. I mean, but you have a minister mom too. Like you understand the religious thing. And Davey, I mean, don't you have your parents were.
Yeah. I mean, they were conservative Catholic, but it took them maybe 5 or 6 years to really come around, but a lot more people have had it a lot worse, which is why I always feel like this platform that I have, like I've shared my story and my experience, but now it's nice to kind of bring other people into the fold because there's a lot of other stories out there that like haven't been told. And yeah, like Finn, yours is really interesting. And Matt, and it's been really interesting to see the way your mom has very slowly over a very long fucking period of time kind of come around from, I remember the things that she said to you when you came out about, you burning in hell and now to know that she wants to.
Wow. Let's not shade my mother.
But now I'm giving her credit because it's like now that she's in a place where she wants to go on vacation with your boyfriend is like, if I had said that to the 20-year-old version of you, you'd have said, there's no way.
Yeah. We've come a long way.
So. It does take parents time. And if they're willing to keep trying, I love it. It's like a system that everybody kind of evolves together. And my mom loves him. She doesn't really exhibit any kind of, resistance anymore. I mean, for a while it was like, yes, I support you. She'd say that, but she would do a lot, like she'd hold back to guys that I brought around or, just different things that she was doing that showed that she was struggling through it. But she doesn't really, she loves him and me.
Well, I'm excited to see how Chad and my family get along. I think they'll like him because he's 21, he drinks, they drink a lot. So I think they'll bond over their the alcoholic beverages and me not drinking. So I'll be like the odd one out and everyone likes to make fun of me. So that'll be fun.
Well, what made you not drink? I'm just curious.
When I was 14, my grandfather made me promise him that I wouldn't drink because there's a lot of alcoholism in my family. And so I've just never had alcohol.
Wow.
But what's just funny is, I mean, Matt knows this from spending time with my family is that they're like super sarcastic and like they show their love by being like, criticizing you basically. So you would think that my alcoholic family would be like really supportive of me not drinking and all they do is make fun of me. So anyway, it's with love. I'm looking forward to them meeting him. I guess some of you guys who are listening to previous episodes know that last time Chad and I traveled together, which was Hong Kong, we had a conversation about like me using Grindr too much, and it's just this really honest like dialogue that we had. And so I decided for this trip, I wanted to delete Grindr, but the reason I don't delete Grindr is because once you do, all your chats get deleted. So then when you load it back up, you can't tell who you've talked to or what pictures you've sent people. And it's really annoying. Grindr is not sponsoring this podcast, but they have a new feature. I don't know if it's just because I have like the paid version, but you can upload your chats to iCloud so that when you delete the app, the chats get saved. And then when you re-download the app, all the conversations are still there. So I'm going to delete the app on this trip so that I can really focus on Chad and my family. And then Monday when I get back, I'll reinstall it. They have all these new features. They have a feature where you can change what the app icon looks like on your phone. So if you like don't want people to see that you have Grindr, they have like all these generic like ways that you can disguise the app.
So C for the closet.
Yeah. yeah.
Like, what is that? Is that a Canva app?
Yeah. And you can enter like a PIN number so that people can't like enter it. Anyway, it's all these, it's all very shady.
I sure could have used that when I'm sitting in work meetings years ago. You know that.
But they're not going to know what a Grindr app looks like anyway.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, they'll recognize the screen, right? If there's like all these like torsos, but
sure.
Who's like looking at your phone at the app icons?
Oh my God, that happens all the time.
People would.
Yeah, all the time.
Well, if they recognize it, then they've got a little secret too. So
true.
All right, so we have a big announcement. Well, two things. There's going to be a new Himeros TV trailer. Probably by the time you guys are listening to this, it's up on the site, maybe. So you guys can check that out. Actually, it's probably going to be up on Monday. So if you're listening to this after Monday, check it out. Another thing that I want to flag for everyone who's at home, I don't have the link for this yet, but I want you to think about it. So save the dates in your calendar if this is something that's interesting for you. I've been working with Tantric sex coach Brad Amberhart for a project this September, and we're going to be hosting a tantric sex retreat for 7 to 9 men in mid-September. It's free. It's a 5-day retreat, and we're looking for men of all ages, shapes, sizes, backgrounds, and we're really excited about the idea of like going on this erotic journey of exploration and discovery and having that journey filmed. So instead of working with like traditional porn stars, like we often do for the Himeros videos, the idea is that during this retreat, the participants are going to be the porn stars. So if that sounds interesting to you, Brad put together a little list. And I just wanted to quickly read this for you guys. We're looking for a group of gay or bi men who are excited to explore tantra, sexual magic, and whole body ecstatic, erotic, and sexual connection in a group of men. Especially excited about sharing their experience with the world on film. Yes, the world will see you naked. Delighted to accept the opportunity to attend a retreat valued at approximately $1,800 for free in exchange for helping create authentic, meaningful, and influential films to inspire gay and bisexual men worldwide. Ready to receive guidance and instruction on how to create euphoric, mind-blowing, toe-curling, body-tingling, cock-throbbing, life-changing sexual experiences for themselves with virtually any partner. Willing to engage in creative, erotic experiences with fat guys, thin guys, white guys, black guys, old guys, young guys, and men of all types to learn how to turn any sexual experience into an ecstatic one on film. And grateful to have a space where they can explore deep levels of vulnerability, openness, and healing, personally and collectively, while sharing our most intimate moments with the world on film. Participants will receive the following: air and ground transportation to the retreat, a full tantric retreat, including lodging, meals, and workshops valued at $1,800, and an honorarium of $500 US. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, again, bookmark those dates. It's going to be kind of a mid-September range, and hopefully by next week I'll have a link for you guys to apply. There's a whole application process, and it is pretty lengthy, but we really want to find the right people. So what do you guys think? Are you applying?
How many days is it for?
It's 5 full days. No, you're not gonna.
I'm doing this for everybody else. I'm not doing this for me.
It's like, oh, no, this is the determining factor for him.
Right. So I think it's like you fly in on a Wednesday, then you have 5 days of the retreat, and then you fly out on a Tuesday. So it's like, it's basically a week, but 5 full days of the retreat.
Okay.
That's awesome.
You gonna apply, girl?
Who?
Is there an owl? Who?
I sure am in this moment. No. But I can't wait to be on a podcast about it.
Yeah.
Finn, you signing up?
No, I'm not going to be on.
I think it takes a very special person to do this. I think if I wasn't producing it, I would think about it. And like, if I wasn't in this podcast, and if I wasn't like running Himeros TV, and I was listening to a podcast or someone else was doing it, I think the biggest. So Matt, what would be the biggest challenge for you? Like, why wouldn't you apply?
It's just not me.
Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, for me, I've always thought of like sex more or less as just something behind closed doors. It's not something that I record for the world to see. And for me, like, I'm also very, what's the word? Private. Depending on what the subject is, I could be very much of a, what's the word?
Prude?
No, definitely not a prude. Maybe
introvert.
I don't know. No. I don't know. Guys, no. Oh my God, a perfectionist. So it's like a perfectionist. So I would say if I sat back and watched it, I'm sure I would find things to pick apart about myself. And then you compound that on, in my mind, what does everybody else think? Because I think we would love to say that we don't care what people think about us, but to some degree, I genuinely do care what people think about me. Yeah, so totally. It's just the wrong space for me mentally.
Yeah. If you're self-conscious about the way people are perceiving your body and how you look without your clothes on, like to me, that's like secondary though. I think for me, the biggest issue is like boundaries. And like, I have such a complicated relationship with people like violating my body or like taking from me when I don't want them to take. And I'd be so like nervous about the idea of being in this group of people. I don't know. It's also like I think if I were doing it in a retreat that I hosted, I'd be like, oh, are these people, maybe it's someone that has like stalked me for 10 years and now they're going to go on this retreat and then they're going to like try to take from me. I don't know.
Maybe I do need to come. Now you're making me feel like I do need to show up for this thing.
Well, let's be clear. I'm not a participant in it. I'm producing the event.
Are you going to be, you're going to be there, right?
I'll be present. Yeah, I'll be there with the crew, but there's going to be very clear lines.
Some zeros on there. I'd think about it.
Oh my God. Well, and that's why we're not, because we don't want people to do it for the money. We want people to do it for the right reason. But
I know, but
it makes me nervous thinking about it. I just got like sweaty thinking about participating in it.
Well, you know what they say is on the other side of fear is like freedom. And I wonder about that myself. You've actually asked me this before, because it's a complicated relationship for me too. Yeah, because part of me has always wanted to do it. Like I've always had this like deep fantasy of just being like wanting to express and be. I think that's also like we all have some sort of narcissistic scale going on too, and I think there's like a narcissistic desire to be like, desired by lots of people, and but at the same time, I've never been in a place in my life where I was really working consciously on my sexual energy like I am now, and so I'm like pulled back inward so much and looking at everything and in my desires and what I'm doing, just to kind of get a better sense of who I am and what I'm up to. And so there's fear in there for me. And also with my boyfriend, I don't want to put something out there that I love so much and cherish so much and then just have it like, maybe picked apart or just like, coveted in some kind of way. But it's like a self-protective response that I'm having. And I get that.
Yeah. I mean, we could also film a video of you and Sam. It could be you and your boyfriend.
Well, that's what I know. That's what I was saying, but then it's like, and here's like, we see these comments on the site. It's like, more come, what the fuck, man? Like, having like, so something that feels very vulnerable for me because like I've told you this before, this is even coming up this week. I've never been in a relationship where I did contain my sexual energy before. I've always just kind of like sent it in multiple directions. And so I've really enjoyed holding it, but Sam's gone, and I've just been, also we had some conflict over the last couple of weeks before he left. And so I've just been in this space of like a lot of desire for a lot of different directions, and kind of looking at, where I'm at in my growth and how I am now versus how I used to be, missing some of those parts of me, and really cherishing where I'm at too. And
there's also something though, like I think we all have the fantasy of like filming ourselves having sex, and like these videos, like I should show you afterwards. I just approved the final edit for a video of Brad having sex with Norm, who's one of his lovers, right? Brad's the facilitator for this upcoming retreat. But Norm is 84 years old, and this experience that we filmed between them, it's this beautiful, like sexual, like almost like a monument to like the connection that these guys have. And now it's like, I don't know if immortalized is the right word, but something that they'll have forever. And these are with cameras that like, I mean, there's a big difference between how we film a video and an iPhone, right? Like these are like $80,000 cameras, and like you're never going to have the opportunity to be filmed by like such amazing directors using such amazing equipment. So like, wouldn't it be cool if you guys had this video, and then in like 30 or 40 years when you're older, like you can look back on this moment that you guys had in your life and have this little memento. I don't know. I think it could be really cool.
We have talked about it before. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
I mean, we've both done things like that in the past. That's why it's kind of like, for me, it's like re-entering a territory I've been in that I'm like, do I want to do that again? I know that's different now. It's different in myself, but I don't know. And also, like you were saying, self-consciousness about body. I mean, I think everyone experiences this unless you're really carrying in a significant amount of cultural capital in your body or cock, then you get like so much attention for that on film versus just people that have like average bodies or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to hear from more performers. I also know a lot of performers, and a lot of them have a lot of the same stresses and like totally freak out about their bodies all the time. And I'm like, but your body is like in the top 2% of fitness. Matter. I know. Or guys that come to, I mean, I have guys that I coach that have enormous cocks that are worried about it, that it's not enough. And I think it's just a ubiquitous thing that I'm not good enough, and I've got to.
Well, porn stars are their currency in a lot of ways, like at least as far as the general public is concerned, is like the way that they look. And so people really feel like they can chime in on like, whether they have a 6-pack versus an 8-pack, or their dick is like to this or to that. And you hear it from porn stars all the time that oftentimes, I mean, we look at these guys and you could think like, how could they possibly have any insecurities? And yet they're some of the most insecure people that there are. And a lot of that is by virtue of like the constant criticism and commentary that they listen based on how they look.
Right.
So
and the shitty part is that we all have to like give up on the beauty thing at some point. Anyway, the older we get, we just have to let go of these ideals. And so it's like, I don't know, it's something that we're all dealing with in the gay community and beyond.
Yes. Okay. So Matt, you also sent a really interesting article this week about the 4 million LGBTQ people. What are you laughing at? Who live in rural America and who like it. The reason I thought it was interesting is because I feel like we've answered questions on this podcast about people who are living in rural areas that like want community and want boyfriends. And we're always like, move to San Francisco. Move,
there was no blue in San Francisco. There was like almost no blue in California. Isn't that funny?
Well, there was a map, and it was showing where people in rural areas that are gay live, and it was like highlighting them. And there's also just not a lot of rural area, like so like Wyoming, right, is like blue, and it was saying like these people aren't necessarily unhappy, like that there's reasons why people live in rural areas, like they're connected to the land or their church or their family. And for me, like I always at my fingertips need a reasonably large selection of gay people to have sex with. But like I also recognize that other people have other motivators. And a lot of people were saying that like what the article was saying, that a lot of these people their experience is not what we would stereotypically think it is, of like bias and constant discrimination. And then in a lot of areas, there's this like philosophy of live and let live. And I'd be curious for people that are listening, if they could write in that are living in rural areas, what their experience has been like as a gay person. Like if it is challenging, if there's, you know, why it is that they choose to live where they are, if that is a choice for them. And I recently scouted actually a location in Wyoming to potentially film. And it was a straight farmer and his wife who owned the property. And I always, when we're filming a project, I really feel like it's important to convey exactly what it is that we're going to be doing, so that we don't get there and then they end up being surprised, or like their neighbors call the police. Like I really want to be fully transparent and I want to get their blessing. And so I was really clear about what we were doing. I was like, you know what we're doing? And he's like, yeah, it's okay if you do your project here. And he said something to the effect of like, what you do with your business is your business. And it was kind of that like live and let live. I think that's like as close to a blessing in Wyoming speak as you're going to get, of like, yes, you can do this. So anyway, I'd love to hear those comments from folks if they want to email in davey@daveywavey.tv.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, y'all?
Yes. I mean, I would agree. I think even in San Francisco, people get attacked sometimes, you know, so there's a perception about it, and it's proportionate to how many people are here and in the rural areas. But I mean, I've lived in rural areas my whole life, and I've had a different experience. I mean, I've been like beaten up, stuffed in trash cans, like chased in a car, all kinds of stuff. And I haven't really, in San Francisco, I haven't had that experience. I walk around holding my boyfriend's hand and I feel pretty safe.
How long have you been in San Francisco?
Since I was 30, so almost 10 years. I did go back to Austin, Texas for a year. And then I lived in the mountains for 6 months too, for a while. But
yeah, I also think like we said this before, but like in those 10 years, a lot has changed. You know, like gay marriage has become legal. Like I think we've hit some sort of tipping point. So, you know, maybe our experience like from 10 years ago is not how it is today in a lot of places. Yeah, and let's just say too, I mean, I do love rural guys. I do. I love guys in the South. What do you love about them?
Like, there's an energy.
Nice repressed cock.
No, there's an.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like to get fucked like you just got out of prison. That's what I like. Like this, you gotta get this hole while it's hot.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of those guys in Texas. I know. So something it's the energy in the rural people. I even love a Southern accent.
Rural people.
Well, I mean, what? I love them. I even like cowboys, you know, like I have this thing for like cowboys. And it's funny, my dad used to like wear cowboy boots and cowboy hats, and he drove a truck, and he made a big deal about it. And like, it was like a big deal that I wasn't like that. It was like always a big deal. And I hated that shit when I was a kid. I was like, ugh, fucking cowboys. And he just like always fantasized he was like John Wayne or something. And now I love it. I mean, I went to Nashville with my boyfriend and we were trying on cowboy hats, and I was looking at men thinking like, whoa, this is so hot. So different than what I'm used to in San Francisco. Well, Matt, thank you for sending us this article.
Seriously.
Get those juices flowing. All right. Do you not have a thing for cowboys? No.
Who, me or Matt?
Yeah, you or either one.
I do, but I do, but
yeah,
I have a thing for every kind of boys.
TBH.
I'm
not going to touch that one.
Cowboys and otherwise.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you better not, unless you have some penicillin.
What?
That was good. He said I'm not going to touch that, and I said you better not unless you have some penicillin. That's good, right?
Yeah, no. I think
All right, let's talk about today's controversial Himeros.tv video called Desire on Demand, featuring Dalton Briggs and Remy Cruz. This video is filmed in the style of a vintage 70s porno flick, and it's starts with Remy looking through an old gay magazine for the classifieds. P.S. The classifieds, that whole thing of like opening a magazine and like searching for guys, that predates me. Finn, you have a couple years on me, but you were still kind of in the closet probably at that. Like, you never used classifieds, did you?
I did, yeah.
You did?
I not to meet up with people. What I used to do is I would go through and like call the personals and like talk on the phone with guys, yes. And like print.
Shut your fucking face.
No, I did.
So you would read a description and be like, hot cowboy daddy.
Yeah.
Like,
and
nice leather boots.
And like whack off to the voicemail or like leave a message. And yeah, totally.
And then they call you back on your like actual phone number?
No, you go like they're like phone lines that you would call into, and then you it's like a system that like holds their voicemail, and then you can leave messages, and you like cruise through the messages, and you can like talk live to these men if they're on, or if they have like a mailbox, you can leave them a message. Yeah.
Wow.
So I talked on the phone with a lot of them.
That sounds so inefficient.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 18, 19.
Yeah, well, and if that's like what you have, that's what you use.
Yeah,
totally.
You made it. In the rural
my
area.
earliest. Now, what was your earliest like way to meet guys?
That's a really good question.
Did you use manhunt.net?
No. What's funny is even when we were in college, I never used anything online. It would always it would be through someone else. Someone would be like, "Oh, you need to meet this person, or you two should hang out." That because I was so afraid to be online and put my face in like a picture. I didn't want to do it.
You're also kind of classy, like, you know.
I'm not classy.
No, neither am I. No. My hole was like splayed out over manhunt.net like the minute I could fucking like sign on to it.
And
I don't even think I would
open my world to all that stuff, and I was just like, I can't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, but you've done the apps like since then, like more like up until
I didn't start doing the apps, so I'm 35. I didn't start doing the apps until I was 26 or 27. 26. Okay. Yeah. So it's
that's still pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used Manhunt. That was like my first one, manhunt.net. I used that in like high school. I was probably like I was not 18 when I was on that thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay, so he calls up an escort from the classifieds in the video. And that's Dalton is the escort that comes in, and he asks Remy what he wants. Finn, you can talk a little bit more about this, but I mean, part of it was the idea to show sex workers aren't just a stereotype, like the corner hooker that we like see on TV. Right. Yeah. And not that there's anything wrong with being the corner hooker. It's just that like sex work it's a wide ranging industry. And like we have a tendency, I think, to paint all sex workers with the same brush. I mean, for example, Norm, who I just mentioned, who, you know, is one of Brad's lovers, he's a sacred intimate. He's 84 years old. And like, he considers himself a sex worker. Like, you know, so anyway, Remy says that what he wants in response to Dalton is that he wants his, I think he says he like wants his hole dominated. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then to fall asleep in Dalton's arms. So that's what we see happen in the video. Before we get into the controversy, Finn, what were you hoping that people would get out of this?
Well, it was like what you were saying, actually, that there's I think my opinion is that people either have this stereotypical idea about sex workers that it's just like dirty, sleazy thing, or on the other hand, they highly glamorize it and think it's just like something that it's maybe not. And I've been pretty good friends, very close friends with a few sex workers, and I've always felt really fascinated with the things that they would tell me, and just hearing about the process in their life, and they're really special people to me in a lot of different ways. So when I was writing this, I was thinking about how people perceive sex work, and especially around all the controversy with sex work and the media these days. I think that I wanted people just to see that it's not just like this idea that someone, you know, comes in and passes you a disease and, you know, takes your money and leaves, that it can actually be a caring act, and just to build that into the concept, and that even that getting your hole fucked is a caring act too. So it's kind of like where's the line between care and sex, and wanting people to think about that and just question that, you know?
Did you, like, in terms of the style in which it was filmed, which we obviously set this in the 70s, did you guys dig the 70s style, like the really like cheesy zooms, like the cheesy music?
I love that part. Yeah.
I thought it was so annoying.
It took you out of it.
It did. It totally did. It's because it was like, it's like you're like paying attention to what's going on. Then it changes with like this, like, and then you have like the film looking thing. And then the screenshots were like so like dramatically changed, like different positions. Like what just happened? Yeah. It was a lot for me.
Okay. It was a decision, as we like to say. An artistic decision. It was funny because someone commented on the site that they're like, well, you know, good video, but the production quality wasn't up to your usual standards because the film seemed grainy. They like, what is this? And I was like, yeah, girl, no, that was what we were trying to do.
You know what? I like it a lot because, for one thing, too, it was in Palm Springs, and it was like speaking to some of the needs of the older men that subscribe. You know, a lot of older men, I talk to them all the time. I love hearing the perspective of older men, and they really, some of them don't get into the new ways that people are meeting. So when we wrote this, that's what you and I have been talking about a lot. Is how do we connect, you know, conceptually with men in different generations, and to make it broadly applicable. And so that was the reason. And we're in this like mid-century modern mecca. Yeah. I mean, it just made sense. And as soon as I saw the graininess of the film, I thought it was so fucking cool.
Finn, did you watch the porno that I sent you the other day, the like 70s or 80s porn that I sent you?
Oh my God. I unfortunately watched some of it, yes. You said it was cringy, and it was a little cringy, but I thought that was cringier than, you know.
Than what we filmed. Did you see the part where he winked at camera?
I don't remember. I don't think so. No.
Okay, I sent Finn this like really cheesy, I don't know if it was 80s or 70s. I jerked off to it though. I thought it was kind of hot. But I think for a lot of our audience, like they probably related to the style in which this was filmed, because when they ordered like VHSs in like the 80s, like in 90s, it probably looked like this.
It totally did.
So, all right, so let's talk about the controversy. Oh, go ahead. What, girl?
I was going to say, I love the concept of this. I would have never thought to have created a video that looks at prostitution. And even watching it, I think that it was very minor the way that it was introduced. We've all heard stories about just like last week we were talking about people throwing money, like saying like, I want this, give this to me. He's throwing money at the guy who is a prostitute. Like there's like just more dramatic things that happen. And I feel like this was so light. I can't believe that there actually is any controversy around this. I just think it was a great idea, and it's real life. That's what this is really meant to be about. It's about people's experiences, giving everybody a little bit of something, shedding some light on things. We've all looked at Adam for Adam. We've all been on rentmen.com before, whether we actually rented somebody or not. We've all wanted to check it out and see what it's like. So for me, anybody that has a problem with this, I don't get it.
Well, I think it normalized sex work. Interestingly, that's not what the controversy was even about. Turns out what was controversial about this film is, well, it also happened to be the very first comment that someone left, which was literally the first comment on that video. It had been up for like, I don't know how many minutes. And someone writes, but no one got hard. Which also is untrue. I mean, the erection, there are erections in it. Like Dalton at one point fucks Remy, like he was hard, and Remy jerks off and comes. Like he was obviously hard when he does that, but the guys are not like rock hard throughout the entire video. And I don't know why I'm so passionate about this topic, because like this is not my fight. I do not have skin in the game. Like I feel like people probably think I'm being like defensive about this, but like boners have never been an issue for me, right? Like, and I'm going to share this just to show you that I'm not like being defensive about it, but like My dick is always rock hard, guys. It's always rock hard.
I'm like, yeah. Say more.
It's so hard.
It's hard right now.
It's never soft. Actually, guys comment on it. They're like if I top, like the bottoms love it. They're like, because I'm like, even after I come, I'm still hard. So like, so I'm hard forever. So anyway, but for most guys though, like in sex, boners come and go. And like when I'm with guys, that's what happens. Like boners come and go. Sometimes they're hard, sometimes they're not. And that's typical. Like it's what happens in life. And I think maybe because it's not an issue for me, like I can step back from it a little bit, like and recognize the insanity of it. But like in porn, people I think that listen to our podcast realize this because we talk about it. Like those models are injected with drugs like into their dicks, or they take pills to be hard constantly. And like, I think because we see that over and over again, we've come to believe that that's normal, and it's not normal. We have these dumb, unrealistic expectations about our dicks being hard all the time. And like, there's this idea that if the guys aren't hard, that they're not into each other, or that they don't want to be there. And like, that's so untrue. And like, yeah, sometimes you can't get hard because you're so into someone.
Totally.
So I think we just need to stop like beating each other up over these fucking boners. And like, you can just very easily see why there's this $1 billion like fucking pharmaceutical industry about boners. And like, you can have a lot of fun with a soft penis. You don't need a penis.
Exactly. I mean, talking to trans people, it really shifts this whole discussion up. Actually, I was talking to someone the other day, like they're like trans men and dominating people, and the way that that's showing up more and more. I just think that it's just like that conversation around the hard dick is getting weaker and weaker. But to me, it shows like a lack of just really understanding about the true intimacy of sex, because even if you're with someone that's like a hookup, it's an intimate act. And if you're, I mean, you know, no matter what, our arousal system it comes from all kinds of things. It's not just like the sex that's happening or how hot someone you think they are in front of you. You know, anxieties, things that come up inside us. And I think, if anything, I really like how this film did kind of highlight that a little bit, because it raises the question just for people to think about. And I've had the experience personally of not being able to stay hard because I was actually feeling really vulnerable and really, really attracted to somebody. So I know what that feels like, because it wasn't about not being attractive. It was just feeling like I was in my head too much, and right. I didn't know how to get out of my head. And, you know, I think a lot of men can relate to that experience.
And Dalton, in filming this video, I mean, Remy said he wanted his whole dominated. And I think like Dalton did get in his head a little bit. And so Finn and I, we went out and we bought a dildo so that he could use that on Remy's butt, but you could use your finger, you could use all sorts of things. Like, so like, that's life. Like that's what happens. Finn, I'm going to ask you a little bit to elaborate on, because we really needed to get like Dalton into that like animal energy, right. So that he could dominate Remy, and how you helped him tap into that. But Matt, what did you think of the boners? Like, did you notice it when you were watching it? Did it bother you?
I did notice it, but I mean, I didn't care. Like for me, I've treated this video the same way I treat most of them, as something new to understand and to explore. Like, I would think that a lot of the people who are commenting are looking to get off from watching the video. And maybe that's why not having an erection for them, like maybe it means more. I don't know. But I feel like for me, like I watch it to be like, huh, that's interesting. Or I never thought of it like that. Like, I think there's something to learn from them. So for me, not seeing a boner, I honestly didn't think twice. I read the comments afterwards, and I was just like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you saw my bitchy response. I was like, why are you so fixated on the boners?
But when I did watch it the second time, like, because I saw the comments and I went back and I watched the second time, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? They're not. I mean, I will say that for as excited as they sounded when they were with each other, and for what even their facial expression was when they were pleasuring each other, I think that, okay, well, in hindsight, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I am surprised that they're not hard, but at the same time, it wasn't about that. So I don't know. I really didn't. I don't see why it was such a big deal, but
yeah,
no, I think people, it's only, I think this is my opinion, that it's a big deal to people because they're projecting, obviously, that it would be a big deal to him if he couldn't get a boner.
right.
Because if we're just like not hard on ourselves, it's all coming from your head. So if somebody wanted me to dominate their hole and I couldn't get hard and I was in a space where I didn't want to beat the shit out of myself, I would just use my fingers, use whatever I had to do that and have a good time anyway. If I was wanting to be hard on myself or taking that route, then I suppose that it could get, all trippy inside the head. And that's what we got the dildo for, is to be like, all right, here's a tool.
Yeah. And it shifted the whole energy of the room because people just get really up in their heads and there's a lot of like pressure and anxiety. So another aspect of this video was like Dalton is very sweet, and
Totally.
This video required tapping into like this deep like animal energy. And Finn, like, what is that? Like, why is that fun? How did we help Dalton get into it? And how can people enjoy it at home? Okay, go.
Wait, break it. Why is what fun? Getting animalistic?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think we need to. And if we don't make conscious space for it, we just do it anyway. We act bitchy with people, which is a form of that, like, cutting up, or we like get forceful in a fight or something. I don't know. it comes out. So our feelings, if we can make space for true, like, rage drive, hostility to come through in a safe way. That's why, when people want that, they want to be treated that way sometimes. And porn reflects that. Our desires reflect that. So it is fun, and it can enliven the scene. And that's what he said, is he wanted to be dominated. He didn't say, he wanted to be caressed sweetly. So, but Dalton was so sweet. Like, we were texting each other, and I was like, it's a little sweet. I mean,
you and I were texting each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think too, just talking to him about it was just all words, it's like he needed to experience that in his body and to see it like, modeled for him. So yeah, you and me like pushed each other around a little bit, I pushed you down on the couch actually. And, that was great.
Yeah, Matt,
going like, oh, okay.
But it's funny, that was when that happened, that's when I was like, what is happening in this video? Because for the first 8 minutes, 9 minutes, I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, why are they fighting? Like, what just happened?
In between those 2 points, me and Davey like simulated a fight. And then I stood behind Davey, and Davey was like, okay, Dalton, push me. No, push me. And Dalton kind of like half pushed him. He's like, no, push me. And so he pushed him really hard. And he's like, all right, that's what we want you to bring in, is that drive. And then he did. He got he experienced it. He totally cross-applied it immediately.
I think it needed more of that throughout it.
Well, I had to warm up to it.
It's interesting. We've since filmed a lot of content since we filmed this. This was like back in October. And there's a video coming out in a couple weeks called Harder and Softer, where the models really, really got like both the extremes of super soft, sweet touch, and also really hard, like spit on me, like rip my underwear off, like animal sex. And it's a really interesting video because they go to both extremes in it.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
very excited for that.
Yeah, because our sexual impulses, especially like around dominance and submission, are like, there's a lot of shadowy feelings there, and people have this self-image of themselves. I'm nice and I'm this or that, or they're inhibited. And so to contact those feelings, it's kind of a regressed state, because a civilized human doesn't run around trying to like force you down on your knees. And then in sex, those things become really exciting. Like the very power dynamics that we don't want to have in the workplace are like exactly what we want in bed.
Well, a very rich topic to get into. We're running out of time. We're not going to get to all these questions today. I'm just going to do one of the questions because it's super related to this video. And that is question number 1. If you guys have any questions, by the way, send them to Davey at daveywavey.tv. This one says, Your recent video depicts a young man hiring a sex worker. Given the reach of your platform and the responsibilities that you have to your fans, do you think it is wise to portray prostitution in a favorable light? I'm sure that there are well-adjusted prostitutes, such as the gentleman depicted in your video, but it is a career path that is paved with drugs, alcohol, addiction, and sexually transmitted diseases. I think you need to be careful about the line that you, your friends, and your studio walk because malleable minds are listening and watching. Matt, what do you think about that?
First off, I really think that whoever wrote that probably does in fact sound like that, first and foremost. But hello, whoever this is, we watch Dick and Asshole. Dick and Asshole. Malleable minds. What the hell? Like, are you kidding me? Like, if you want, can you give him his money back? Because maybe this isn't the right place for him.
Right. He needs to go to church.
Exactly. Like, this is not for you. Goodbye.
Well, it's like he has that idea that I was talking about, that like prostitution is this one thing, and it's like this, and maybe he's had some experience like that personally or through a connection, but it's his idea that it's this sleazy thing versus like it could be all kinds of stuff, And besides that, people that work in tech are also, it's paved the way with drugs too. I know like so many, what group of people are doing what kind of drug?
Oh my God.
Well, if you guys want to watch this video, Desire on Demand, go to himeros.tv. You can watch a free preview. And if you want to join, become a member, himeros.tv/pod, and you'll save 20% off your membership. You can join in on this party and leave some comments of your own. All right. We'll save the other questions for next week, which we'll be talking about a video titled Prostate Massage. Matt, you'll be excited. There's lots of of ass in that video.
All about it.
Finn, where can people find you?
I was going to say, we get to come back to that question of rubbing your own prostate. So you can find me at findeerhart.com, FINNDERHART.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, more to come.